family therapist, and I see a lot of teenagers and a lot of preteens. And I started to see this common struggle among the teenagers that I see. And I would hear this same statement over and over again. And that statement was this: I just feel like a walking resume. So what these kids were essentially saying is that I only feel as good as my last performance. And this was confusing to me because by and large, I am pretty familiar with the families of these teenagers that I see. And these are solid families. Of course, no parent or no family is perfect. But these were really solid families who love their children well, who give them a secure environment and messages of truth about who they are as people. And so this statement that I heard over and over again, that I just feel like a walking resume, was really puzzling to me until I realized this, that just as important as whether or not kids are celebrated is the timing of when that celebration happens. I realized that it wasn't that these kids weren't being praised or weren't getting messages of truth about their identity and sense of security. It was that the timing of those messages was largely around when they had accomplished something. They felt most praised and most celebrated in moments that centered around their performance. And this is not only something that I heard in my practice, it really held up the mirror to how easy it is as a parent. As I mentioned, I have 3 young children. And if we just go on autopilot, the most natural times to celebrate our children are when they bring that test home and they got an A and they're so excited about it, or perhaps they scored a goal at their soccer game, or they won the Little League game. They got to play that part in the play that they were really excited about, and they did a great job. Those are the most natural times, kind of served up on a platter, for us to celebrate as parents. But unintentionally, what can happen if those are the only times that we celebrate our kids is we can start to define their identity around their performance. And that's where later in life they start to feel like I'm only as good as my last performance, or that my whole identity is built around not who I am, but what I do. And so today I just want to talk about some simple things we can do in our homes that help our children cultivate a healthier relationship with celebration. And the first is, as usual, as parents, we have to go first. I wish I could tell my kids, do as I say, not as I do. But the reality is that the message they hear the loudest is what they actually see and not what they hear. It's how we live. That's the message that speaks loudest in their lives. So this is where I'm going to challenge you to think about the ways that you live and maybe some messages that you are telling yourself about what is worthy of celebration. Because the reality is, if our kids will never celebrate their personhood if they only see us celebrating our performance. They'll never learn to celebrate the process and the journey and those milestones along the way if they only see us celebrating the product. They will never learn to sit with others in their celebration and rejoice with those who rejoice if they only see us joining other people in their sorrow or in their pain. And our kids will never learn to receive affirmation, which is one of the simplest forms of celebration, if they only see us as adults rejecting affirmation, which is really easy to do. Receiving a compliment without deflection or outright rejecting it. Our kids will never learn to freely celebrate other people if they only hear us or see us comparing ourselves to other people. And they will never run to God in their joy and celebration if they only see us running to God in desperation. So this is where we need to check our own hearts, maybe consider the messages that we've received about celebration that we've never really noticed before, but we're walking around with anyway, and think about what are we showing our kids with regards to just a few examples that I listed there.